Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of Tehran. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Wednesday, March 11, 2025, and this right here, the thing that you are watching, well, it's called the TNAM Daily Show. TNAM stands for the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. Thank you so much for being here. On today's program, it sounds like John Thune, Leader Thune, not much of a leader in my opinion, is set to call for a vote on the Save America Act. What does that mean? He doesn't think he has the votes. Well, brother, if you can't whip those votes, what are we even doing here? How could the GOP not link up in unison? Well, Lisa Murkowski and Mitch McConnell, don't seem to be on board. What does that mean? I don't know what that means, but it's not good. And so they're going to go to a vote. In Leader Thune, look, it's theoretically possible that he could be telling the truth insofar as we have other stuff to do. It's going to block all of our legislative agenda if we do this. It's going to mess everything up. The timing, the this, the that. Number one, it doesn't matter. Get it done. Number two, you have been calling, your Senate has been allowing 2-minute open sessions to closed sessions so that you're not letting President Trump make his recess appointments. Everybody makes recess appointments, but the Republicans, the deep state, are blocking President Trump. What does that mean? It means that the uniparty is still alive and well, and we are in desperate need of a massive red wave in November to sweep out as many corruptocrats as possible, as many New World Order, globalist, traitors as possible. Well, the Republicans, they have the House, they have the Senate. No, they don't. No, they don't. They have a lot of good people, and they've got a lot of not good people. Speaking of not good, I feel like I've identified something. Ah, yes. That's a fly in my drink. I'm going to go ahead and swap it out. But if you want a mug that will not have a fly in it, summer's coming around, which means it's fruit fly season. Time to replace the sticky traps. If you want a mug, shoot me a Venmo, Brian Engelman. They're $40. It includes $10 of shipping and handling charges. We will get those mailed out to you. Yes, it is a fundraiser. Yes, we rely on your support. Let me put that information up on the screen, the ways that you can contribute to us. Subscribe to the monthly situation on Patreon at the New American Media. Rumble and YouTube both have monthly sponsorships. Those are super important because then we can see how many we have a month, and we know how many building blocks are going to hop in each, first of the month. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month. Bone Thugs and Harmony, really good band. Really good rap outfit, however you want to call it. But yeah, becoming a monthly subscriber on Patreon, on Rumble, on YouTube is massive. Please consider doing so if you enjoy our program. Also, hit the thumbs up button right now. Smash a thumbs up, get out of chat, hit the thumbs up real quick, then jump back in chat. My fake account over here says on Rumble, Thune is a failure and a coward chicken shit traitor. We shall see if he has the balls to call a vote. I doubt he will. I think he's going to. And I think he's going to put people on the record. But here's the thing about putting people on the record. Maybe when they know they're on the record, they're not going to do something so stupid as vote against the Save America Act. By the way, Georgia, Arizona, the grand conspiracy, the theft of 2020, Tulsi Gabbard, director of national intelligence, possible Venezuelan, possible Iranian influence. There's a lot that might be coming out in the near future. So put these people on the record. Let's see if they have the balls to actually not support President Trump and the agenda of making sure only American citizens are casting votes in American elections. Oh, the humanity. Can you believe anyone would have a problem with that? Well, yeah. There's a lot of people. Maybe John Cornyn, maybe John Thune, maybe a whole bunch of other people named John. Dear John letter. John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. I can't believe he wouldn't always win because the name is so catchy, but maybe the deep state puts in traitors, wolves in sheep's clothing, rhinos, Republicans in name only. They're deep state actors. They just pretend to be Republican, and they keep blocking real America First patriots. Now, I can't believe you're saying you're America First. You see what we did in Venezuela. You see what we did in Iran. Iran that put hits out on President Trump to assassinate him. Iran that butchered 46 Americans in their October 7th attack on a music festival through the proxies of Hezbollah and Hamas. 46 Americans, 1,000 Americans, since they overthrew their nation and turned it into an Islamic supremacist hellhole. Ask anybody from Iran. Check out our show from last Sunday. Iran used to be a great place until you know who showed up and turned it into a hellscape. A hellscape where the soccer players, the lady soccer players, are being sent back there. And we'll say a prayer for them. Let me get back to the prayer in a second. It's theoretically possible that Thune is right. But also, it doesn't matter. Do it anyway. And do it now. Well, you can't break the filibuster. What do you mean? If they want to stand up and ramble incoherently how they think minorities and women are too stupid to figure out how to get an identification card, let the Democrats prove how anti-woman and anti-non-white they are. Because they are. The party of the Klan is still the party of the Klan. It's called projection, people. It's called projection. They accuse you of what they themselves are most guilty of. Let them get up there and stand. Oh, I'm a civil rights hero. I'm a revolutionary. Go on. Talk. We're going to be transcribing every stupid thing you say. Well, but married people can't. They won't be able to. Every married person laments that battery of paperwork to change your name. And you know what? They do it. You know why? Because they're adults. And that's what adults do. You obtain a copy of your birth certificate. Oh, I don't have one. You call the place you were born. There are protocols in place. How old was I? 17, 18, going out of the country for the first time. Well, I want to go to spring break, but I need a birth certificate. I don't have I got a birth certificate. Nope. You need one with the embossed logo. It has to be an official version. Crap. Well, how do I do that? You know what? You figure it out. And I figured mine out in the very early days of the internet. Now you have everything right at the fingertips. Hey, Grok, how do I get a birth certificate? Let the Democrats go out there and try to say that certain groups of people are too stupid to figure out how to qualify in voting. And now the latest thing that Hakeem Jeffries and who was the other one? Kristi Noem was being axed. I said that on purpose. Once again, hit thumbs up, hit the Rumble rants, hit the super chats, drop some tips in. I'm your kindly bartender for the day, delivering the news in a interesting, fun, interactive way. So if you enjoy your time here, slide a tip across the bar. It's always appreciated. It goes right into the gas tank. It goes right to, I got a list right here. There you go. It goes to the mortgage. It goes to the gas and electric bill. It goes to the internet bill. It goes to all the things. So it won't be for nothing. And if there's anything left over, it goes to Nimbus. I'll get back to Nimbus and prayers for the Iranian soccer team in a moment. But there is no universe where we shouldn't have qualifications, the most stringent qualifications, safety checks, guidelines, and severe punishment for people who are not eligible to vote that accomplish it. We shared a story. A guy has been doing it for 5 elections, I believe, since 2008. Final deportation order in 2002. Maybe these dates are accurate. Please double check if you want. Oh, look, the thing that they say never happens. Oh, it's happening again. You think Arizona and Georgia was on the up and up? Oh, brothers and sisters, I'm telling you. Buckle up, Buttercup. When the truth hits, it's going to be like a frying pan to your face because you've wanted to believe that Joe Biden was the most popular president of all time. Just anything to get rid of Trump. You didn't mind. The ends justify the means. It doesn't matter to the Marxist revolutionaries like Obama. It doesn't matter. And yes, Obama was one of the main ringleaders of this, and all roads will lead to Obama. I do firmly believe. By the way, for countervailing views on health and elections, go to cdc.gov, who.int, and visit cisa.gov/rumor control. Go get your countervailing views on everything about vaccines and anything regarding health or doctors or medicine or big pharma or the 2020 election. Okay? Capiche? Capiche. Catfish? By the way, programming note, let me tell you that we are going to be having a special episode of, oh yeah, you guessed it. What did you guess? Strictly Football. Strictly Football coming up today at 4 o'clock. That's a 90% certainty on the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, brought to you by the New American Media. Once again, that is Strictly Football on the Unhappy Hour, a division of the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, brought to you by the New American Media. Hoping for 4 o'clock today to cover the Max Crosby trade, no trade, the combine, and the pre-draft stuff going on in the NFL right now. Lots of free agent signings. Cleveland Browns have bolstered their offensive line, thankfully. Jim and Mike will celebrate their Seahawks Super Bowl victory, how they're going to reload and relaunch. And of course, Izzy is going to talk about what his Cowboys have done. They've been active too. So we'll see. I do think Thune is going to call a vote. He said he's going to. He can't run from it. I think he's been trying to. He can't. It's clear he doesn't want to, but I don't. And then he says something, well, if you bring it up, there's going to be endless amendments and you're not going to be able to vote all the amendments down and it's going to be a mess. Brother, run it. Let it go. Run. Go. Make it happen. We're out of time. We're burning daylight. And remember, the White House X account posted a picture of a fighter pilot in the cockpit, I believe a mustache and some aviator glasses and a helmet. And the cockpit window was turned open. Is it this way or this way? And it said, Patriots are in control. And that was a com. That's a Dan Scavino. That's a 17th letter of the alphabet. That's a Q. That's something that has been floating around for the better part of a decade as like some fringe conspiracy theory. Remember when President Trump was asked, now, President Trump, have you heard about this conspiracy theory that you're battling a cabal of satanic pedophiles? He goes, was that supposed to be a bad thing? Look, I don't know anything about that. A comm was dropped. That's a communication. It couldn't be any more crystal clear. But the growing frustration, and I'm not saying I believe or I don't believe, wouldn't it be cool to find out if some of that stuff was true or all of that stuff was true at the end? I'm going to operate as if it's just fan fiction because that's a good way to process all of this. You don't want to go all in on something that's unprovable, unproven, unknown. But the point is, if there are patriots in control, why the hell are you letting the traitors keep running wild? We caught them all. Yeah, I've been hearing that for year after year after year after year. Sat through 5 years of Biden. And you know what? The totalitarian regime of Joe Biden, when they came in during COVID, they forced the doctors into a one-size-fits-all protocol where they're going to jam something inside of you. And then they're going to put you on remdesivir, and they're going to put a breathing tube down your throat, and they're going to slide you into a casket. And they made money every step of the way. Hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, the Merrick protocols, vitamin C drips, all these things, they were not allowed to administer these things. Relatively safe. Nobel Prize award-winning drugs were being banned because they knew better. And you know what? People like me lost half their family. A parent and the only sibling I'll ever get. And when my dad had his chance to speak at my brother's memorial, a memorial that we pretty much had to record and live stream because everybody was still wearing masks. And you couldn't allow people to gather to mourn your family members. My dad said something. He said, if President Trump were in office, I strongly believe my son would be alive right now. He was denied hydroxychloroquine. He was denied ivermectin. He was denied the Merck protocol. Oh, but they were sure to give him remdesivir, the drug that not me, but nurses widely nicknamed "Run Death is Near." Look it up. Oh, no, we need to put you on a ventilator. Oh, do you? So you can blow the lungs out? Awesome. Awesome. Elections have consequences. And I think the actions of Biden and the Democrats over the past 5 years, past 10 years, really go back decades, are actions that will literally be damned by God. So I can say that goddamned Biden administration killed half my family. So yeah, I take it personal. And I'm tired of waiting. I don't want to hear any excuses. I want to see action on the grand conspiracy, on COVID. I want Fauci's eyes to bug out after he's found guilty by a jury of his peers or a military tribunal for his crimes against humanity. I will gladly volunteer to press the button, pull the trigger, flip the switch, whatever is allowable in the treasonous courts. Nuremberg 2.0. I haven't forgotten this. This stuff is as relevant now as it ever has been. And you are damn right we're not letting you sneak illegal aliens into the voting booths. You're damn right. We're going to have people there checking your eligibility before you even get near a booth. No, we are not doing digital machines, digital voting. Fuck you. Vote on a piece of paper and count them up. Stacks of 100. Shrink wrap them, put the stamp on, watermarked paper, camera 24/7, Republican and Democrat. There's no broken water mains. You're not pausing an election for days to keep flooding in boxes and boxes by the same United States Postal Service who endorsed one of the candidates. Can you believe that? I believe it was Kamala, so I guess it was 4 years after, technically. You're damn right we need a complete revamp of our election system. So, John Thune, bring it to a vote. Let's get it on. Now, I had a troubling distress call this morning while driving to work. I received a report that there was a plastic bag blowing around in the wind on the side of the road. But as the driver got close, it was a cat. And so I had to quickly figure, I did not have this on my bingo card for the day. And got 2 boxes, some gloves, long sleeve shirt. Went out looking and kept looking, didn't find it. Eventually pulled over on the side of the road. It's like 45, 55 miles an hour. It's kind of around a winding bend, a couple of lanes. Not the easiest place to pull off and put the hazards on, but it did. And it was a cat, and it looked just like Nimbus. And I approached with caution. You don't know if something's going to lash out at you. You don't know exactly what you're stepping into. And I had to wait for some semis to pass. I mean, because there was like this much clearance. I think my bumper was even a little bit over the white line. It wasn't a great spot to be. And walked around the animal, the cat. I didn't see any movement. I guess it was thrashing around a lot. And then when the driver went past it a second time, said, "I think it's done. Should I just leave it there? Do you want to get it? What are we?" And I said, "All right, well, let me." So I picked the cat up by the scruff of the neck, and I gently placed it into one of my boxes and kind of wrapped it around the curve of the box. And I didn't see movement. And then I brought it into the veterinarian, the 24-hour place. And they asked me something. And I said, I'm trying to surrender this animal. I don't know. If I don't see movement, but can you check? Is it okay? Like, is there any chance that it can be? Said I want to surrender it. I don't know what to do. If there's anyone that can help it, and they came back and said it's alive, and I said, what? And then something, and they went back and said it moved a little bit. It moved a little bit, it twitched a little bit, and then it stopped moving. It didn't make it. And the veterinarian that went in to check said it had a fractured skull. They were able to just kind of got hit in the head or run over or something. And that's a weird way to start a day, let me tell you. That's a weird way to start a day. It's not the first expired cat that I've taken off the streets. But it does remind me why I do foster some cats. And, it's pretty brutal out there. So I did say a prayer for that kind soul, that sweet soul that we had to hand off to the experts and the doctors. And didn't make it, but we didn't leave it out there in the rain. So I said a prayer for that cat, and I'll just wrap it up with that Iranian soccer team. Do a bit of a prayer now. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thanks for our health and allowing us to gather today and go through the crappy news, and hopefully a couple things that are fun or interesting or motivational, because there's a lot to go through and a lot of it's bad. But be with the soul of that animal that expired this morning, and bless the people that called me to help it, and the veterinary staff that tried to help. And also be with that Iranian soccer team. The fear is that those ladies are going to be tortured and executed, and we'll never see from them again. We don't know. But they were begging and pleading, and some people escaped in, I believe it was Australia. Now, there's legitimate asylum claims, and then there's all the fake stuff that the Democrats were pushing to flood our nation with 40 million people to overthrow this place that, strives to be a pretty good place until you bring in non-citizens who don't have the same values, ideals, and are very unashamed of stealing the resources we have, where we can help our stray cats, our veterans, our homeless, our addicted, and our people down on their luck. So be with the soul of that cat who we named Nimbus Jr. Looked just like him. Damn near same size and everything. And be with that Iranian ladies soccer team. I don't know why Australia didn't let those people stay. They did not sing that anthem, and it was a sign of protest, and 5 people fled, and I don't know why you shipped them back there, but if you got some angels to send, put their wings over their shoulders and protect them and their families, as this ruthless Islamic supremacist nightmare of a regime is hopefully extinguished in Iran, so that the people there can live a better life. A life that I think the creator of this universe wants humanity to live inside. So bless the people that need it, and in your name we pray. Amen. Tough morning. Strange morning. And I'll go for walks and I'll do stuff, and I'll often say, like, oh, man, I sure hope I don't see, it's dawned on me, like, what if you see a creature that's hurt or, in the road, or hit a cat, a dog, even a squirrel, you don't want to. Yeah. That was tough. But I had the thought in my head. I'm just like, I tried praying this morning a little bit and didn't know exactly what to say, but I'm like, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, what am I walking into? Protect me, protect, if there's any hope for it, if it can be saved, let me help. And the phrase kept popping in my head, the Charlie Kirk phrase from the Bible. It says, "Here am I, send me." I didn't want to go out into the rain and go do that. I had other things to do for that hour. You know, if that was someone's pet, you know, I've had a couple pets go missing and I still don't know what happened to them. And I don't know if this animal was a pet or not. If something ever happened to anyone I love, I would want a little bit of care over the body and the soul to kind of resolve that and do the best that you can with what you got. And I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to do this, but here am I, send me. So I did. And, you know, it'll rattle you. So just a very contemplative day. Whew. Yeah. Well, how about this? Let me get a cup of coffee that doesn't have a fruit fly in it. Play the intro to our show. And we'll start rifling through the rubbish, separating fake news from fact, here on the TNAM Daily Show. Thanks for being here. Every day, most days I'll deliver a monologue. Most days I don't entirely know what I'm going to say. And in some ways, the monologue is a chance for me to sit on a therapist's couch and just talk things out. And maybe some of you feel similar, like to just sit and listen to someone talk, or to drop your comments, and it feels like you're like you're getting some stuff out, you're getting something out of it. But yeah, when she came out and said that cat was alive, I didn't see any breathing, I didn't see any sign of movement. But I'm like, this cat could be paralyzed. If it is, how long could it be sitting out here just suffering? I don't want to allow that. I don't want unnecessary suffering. I understand that things have to be done, but I don't want to see suffering. That's where some of that Epstein stuff gets so dark, is that like the suffering is kind of a major component of it. Like it's not a glitch in their system. It's like, it's a necessary part of the big reason is that they need suffering. There's financial suffering, there's health suffering, there's psychological, there's trauma, there's all sorts of suffering. So, you know, I guess today I'll say thank you for being here to let me just kind of talk this stuff out. That was a lot. But you do what you can. And even if you don't think you're prepared for something, who shall I send? Here am I, Lord, send me. If we're not willing to step up and do some stuff, what are we even doing here? This is a participatory video game. This simulation, this earthly experience, this involves our involvement, our participation. This isn't the place to put your head down in the sand and just, you know, wait it out. Put your head down in the sand and say, well, let somebody else do it. I think that whole let somebody else do it. And there's another project I'm going to do, hopefully very soon. I've lived in a spot for quite a while now. And there's an area that is just, there's surrounding landscaping with all sorts of stones. And over the years, like this stuff is spilled into the roadway, and it's at an area that it just accumulates, you know, car parts fall off and just trash and junk. And I have called the city about it, and they didn't really do much of anything. So one of these days, hopefully soon, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to clean that up, because who are they going to send? Who should they send? Well, here am I, Lord, send me. Don't want to do it, but I want it fixed. I want it cleaned up. I didn't really want to grab a lifeless animal this morning, but if I didn't, maybe nobody would have. So I think Americans need to start taking our country back into our hands. We've been outsourcing too much of our politics to people that don't give a shit about us. Or worse yet, they loathe and despise us, and they're trying to bankrupt us and destroy us, make us infertile, make us hate ourselves with their brainwashing. We're onto them, and it has to stop. And that's why I've been pouring so much of my life into the new American media, especially after the last couple of years. When you have to bury your younger brother, you just, nothing really. Nothing really makes sense. The food doesn't taste the same. The air doesn't feel as fresh. Like everything is off. But like the immortal words in Princess Bride, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my brother. Prepare for justice. We're at a point in history where this might be the last off-ramp we have to try to salvage some sort of protections in humanity. I didn't know if we could survive that Biden residency. I don't know if we could have survived a Kamala term. Could you imagine 14 months of wide open border? No, we've reached a turning point, but it's going to require more of us getting involved. And it made me wonder, should I be volunteering? As they said, like, are you going to care for the animal? I'm like, man, I just picked it up. I don't know where it's at. Like, can anyone help it? Do I have to surrender? And I'm thinking well, I could do a crowdfunding or something. I started thinking all these things. She came right back and said it didn't make it. But my mind instantly went to all right, can I do a fundraiser? Can I find a way to, should I be volunteering? Is there anything more I could be doing? Because I've always felt called to help cats, especially. I've got 2 of them in my house that I fostered 19 years ago, 20 years ago, I got a dude in there visiting before he enters the military, co-host of Strictly Football. And when it was necessary, I fostered him too. We might not have all the answers, and we might not be as prepared as we want. We might not be as well off as we want. We might not have every answer, not have every resource, and not have enough time or not have enough capability. But you know what? You do the best you can with where you are, with what you got. Do the best you can with what you got, wherever you are. I mean, it's time to wake this country up a little bit, because there's a lot of bad people who have been doing a lot of bad things intentionally for a long time. And that is the mission statement at the New American Media, to get involved, to give a shit, and to try to fix what once went wrong, to paraphrase the Quantum Leap intro. Speaking of intros, here's the intro to the TNAM Daily Show.
Your guide to the truth. thenewamericanmedia.com.
There you go. Rescued is my favorite breed. Went with that one in honor of Nimbus Jr. Oh, look just like him. Rest in peace, little fella. All right. Hello, everybody in chat. Please hit the thumbs up button, hit like, hit subscribe. Every day I have to change the settings. It is the most frustrating thing on here. David is in. Northern David, Lake Leon, Marion, Kenneth, everybody. Marion says we need our own Nancy Pelosi type person. Yeah, we absolutely do. Absolutely. Have to. Are we streaming on Facebook and YouTube? Looks like we're on YouTube. Are we on Facebook? Let's do a check here. Well, it's showing a different video. Let me hit refresh. Okay, it shows that it's live. That's good. Okay, good. It is up here. Try to share the show with a friend or put it out on X or something today. Need to double this show immediately. We're live. Watch us now. I'll put this out from the Facebook The New American Media page onto the Agree to Disagree show group. I also put it into TNAM Fake News, ? Debunking Conspiracy Theories group. Hopefully we can, oh shit. Well, this just came up. Here, I'll show you. Since we just mentioned, let's see. There we go. It's an old-timey image of myself and my brother somewhere in Los Angeles in the valley. Good old days. That's Chris. I won't share you a picture of Nimbus Jr. because reasons. But that just came up on Facebook because I was trying to leave the page, so I'll share that with you. Rest in peace, Chris. All right. We got any first-timers in here? Hit like, hit subscribe if it's your first time. Tell us where you're watching from. All the regulars we know, we love you. I know the fly is just extra protein. Yeah, I know, but I'm good. I'll pass. Thanks. You'll eat bugs and you'll like it. Definitely catfish. Capiche. Yeah, Kenneth, it was not Nimbus, but my God, I took a picture of Nimbus. Let me show you guys. I gotta make sure I don't show you the wrong picture. Oh, this poor. Because I asked him, I didn't even have time to take it. I said, can you send me a picture, please? And they did. But that's Nimbus, and Nimbus Jr. looked a whole lot like this. Sorry, it's a little weird. I think I need to put my hands up. Or it's still not going to work. How does this work? My green screen is weird. Yeah, sweet gray cat. That's sort of the position I found him in and sort of the position I put him in. Just rough morning. Yeah, not Nimbus, thank God. Just not Nimbus. It was a stray cat. I have asked the good Lord to help me, though. I've had to euthanize Halo and Aster, and talk about. I mean, in the past 5 years, it's like I had to bury my mom, Aster, Halo, and my brother, and it's like, how much closer could you be to almost anything in your life? And whew, tough. So, yeah. Kenneth says, when the revaluation happens, I'm going to help save cats. Yeah, man. Yeah, they're going to do... how are they going to do it? They're going to back it by gold, and I keep hearing about it. What do you hold? What is the revaluation going to do, Kenneth? Is it, you have the dinar? Do you have the Iraqi dinar? Is that what you're hoping for? May the Lord, through Trump and others, help save us all. Yeah. Kenneth Bryan, the Lord is aware of your good-hearted soul. I'm just trying to do what I think the Lord would want, trying to just be a little bit of a light. Brian, just be proud of yourself for doing God's work. Yeah, it's not me. It's you're right. It's God's work. And I'm just, when I see things that need done, I do more than I feel like I should. And I feel like that's usually the appropriate amount. More than you want to, more than you can afford to, more than you feel like you should. And in a way, that's been kind of what the new American media has been, is just, I see us driving off a cliff, and I'm just, everything I have, I'm reaching to try to grab the steering wheel up there, and I'm reaching out for it to just keep it on the road. Just one guy, but sometimes one guy is what you need, So, yeah. You have dinar. Okay. I don't have any dinar yet, but I'll have dinar later. Maybe some lasagna. That's a cat joke. Rescued is my favorite breed. All right, everybody. Let's get into the news, shall we? Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with a friend. Share the show with strangers. And thanks for being here. All right, let's load up. We need 20 followers on our Instagram so that we can go live. They keep playing games with the follower count. Oh, we need 18. 18 followers on Instagram. All right, what stories did previous Brian pull up for current Brian to talk about today? Share the show, share the screen. There we go. Marion, yes, my eyes have been leaking this morning too. Something unrelated to this show? I don't know which would be worse. Sorry if I did any of that to you guys. Yeah. I allowed myself a little bit. I just had to power through it. I didn't really allow myself to. It's rattling. And I didn't know if you picked up the cat. Is it going to yelp? Is it going to scratch or bite? Is it like, there's so many question marks, and you're like, fuck it, whatever. I don't know. Lord, protect me on the side of the road. Protect me from this animal if it's going to lash out thinking I'm going to try to hurt it. Like, you don't know what you're walking into. You don't know what you don't know. As Donald Rumsfeld said, there are known unknowns and there are unknown unknowns. Oh, well, my story did it. Sorry. That's why I try to be funny and goofy when I can. Kenneth always reminds me about vibe checks. Like, come on, dude, you're getting really dark here. I'm like, I know, but I'm trying to deal with this awful stuff in the news, and I just want things to be better. I just want shit to be better. Is that so much to ask? Sometimes it is. Okay, well, let's start with the story that not better, but it's just another case of what the police have to deal with. Pay special attention to what the bystanders are saying. David Harris Jr. put this out and says, police say this suspect kept fleeing even after officers arrived, eventually crashing into an unmarked squad car as officers attempt to stop the vehicle and take him into custody in Chicago. Well, this is what happens. He fled a traffic stop, struck a woman in the street, rammed a CTA bus multiple times trying to escape. Without even watching, How do you think this is going to play out? Type it in the comments. How is this going to play out?
Don't shoot, man. Don't shoot. Hey, don't shoot him, shorty. Hey, man.
That guy's the best. Hey, don't shoot him, shorty. Hey, man. Sounds like Mitch Hedberg. Hey, man. Don't shoot him.
He ain't got no weapon or nothing.
He ain't got no weapon or nothing. How the fuck would this guy know that? People, man. Don't shoot him, man. He hit a lady. Now he's slamming his vehicle into everything around him. He ain't got a weapon on him or nothing. You don't know that. By the way, he's driving a 2,000-pound weapon. My dad always reminded me that. He's like, just if you're ever stuck in traffic, if someone tries to carjack you or you're in a spot and so there's a shooter, there's whatever happens, don't ever forget that you're in a 2,000-pound weapon. Use it. Go. Get out of there or go over the threat. I've been a driver for several years now, and I've never encountered a situation where I've needed to. There's another video of self-defense that I shared. I don't know if I put it on the TNAM Daily Show or not. But it was like, if you're a woman scared to get gas alone at night or something, just remember, you're holding a fuel pump. And it's this one video where like a van pulls up and 3 or 4 people jump out. And the person that's fueling up takes the fuel out and sprays the first person, then sprays the second person, then starts spraying the car, and inside the sliding door of the van just covers all of them with gasoline. That's something you can do. That guy, hey man, don't shoot. He ain't even got a weapon. You have no idea that. The woman hit by the suspect's car was hospitalized, now in good condition. 2 officers injured.
Hey, who can put him?
That just hit that officer, it looks like, smashing it back and forth.
Hey, shorty, hey.
Hey, shorty, hey. And this guy, you didn't got to do that. Yeah, you did.
Hey, man, you ain't got to do that shit, man.
Hey, man, you ain't got to do that. Yeah, you do. When you have somebody like this recklessly putting the lives of all these innocent people in danger, you absolutely do.
Man, get y'all boy, man. Don't kneel. He ain't even moving no more. Get y'all fucking boy.
Imagine being a cop with people just siding with the bad guys. That guy that had the bomb thrown over his shoulder. He doubled down on stupid. He's like, yeah, that was the point I was making, and I'm still making the same point. I want my country to be overthrown by Islamic terrorists or something like that. We'll let him say it in his own words. I think I have it in the stack of stories. What are you going to do? This guy, the driver of this white car is clearly asking for this solution here. And the people around yelling, you ain't got to do that. You shouldn't have done that. Okay.
Man, that motherfucker wanted for no fucking murder. Y'all just watching him, boy. He just came off the block. Somebody wanted some fucking murder. Get the fuck out of here. Thirsty ass. O'Neal, man. He shot him.
Of course he shot him.
Yeah, he shot him. He shot him, bro. Yeah, he shot him. You shot him. That bitch ass.
Chicago.
Hey, y'all already
Man, take y'all boy, man. Take y'all boy, get his ass the fuck on, man. He shot. Dude shot. He shot.
Just the beginning of it one more time. Like,
Don't shoot, man. Don't shoot. Hey, don't shoot him, shorty. Hey, man.
they're trying to break that window, but they don't have the device. They should have that device on them.
He ain't got no weapon or nothing.
He ain't got no weapon or nothing. You could not possibly see that. and he's driving a weapon. Try to block him in, but runs this guy over first. Like, our comment was that this kind of took a little too long. Won't stop, continues to try and ram his way out, and then police finally open fire, and now you're mad? The Mercedes driver and the audience are the problem. Yeah, there you go. There's a comment from Brown Girl 40. There you go. You're smart. Well, the vehicle was armed. A vehicle. Good job, officers. He was running people over. He needed to be stopped. And liberals will blame the police for protecting and serving. Todd says the audio commentary from the people on the sidewalk speaks volumes to the lack of accountability and misplaced anger that a lot of these folks have. It's exactly why they end up being killed. Sadly, there really is no easy fix for that mentality that anyone has the stomach to say. But know this, China doesn't have this problem. Did I say problem? Vehicles or weapons. Gotta love the chirping from the no accountability crowd. Hey, man, you didn't have to do that shit, man. Yeah. The definition of FAFO. All right. That's something that happened, just in case it becomes a big news story. You watched it. You saw it. It's obvious that person did it.
Trump.
Okay. 4 FBI codename counterintelligence probes targeted Trump. Deep State versus Trump for 10 years. This is Steve Bannon and John Solomon on Real America's Voice.
Trump targeted by 4 FBI codenamed counterintelligence probes that has snared hundreds of Americans. This, sir, is what I refer to as a bombshell. Can you walk us through it? We got about 2 or 3 minutes here. Yeah. We're holding you through the break. This is pretty much a bombshell.
You basically had 4 codenamed investigations: Crossfire, Hurricane, Plasmic Echo, Round River, and
then there's Arctic Frost or Orange.
Arctic Frost.
Yep, I remember that one too.
What they did is they basically continuously treated the man twice elected by the American people as president as a counterintelligence threat from July of 2016, when Crossfire opened up, to January 2025, when the president was sworn in his second inauguration. To do that, they had to penetrate the privacy.
Hold it. Hang on. Full stop.
I've got a great Steve Bannon impression. I'd have to maybe get the hair right. But it involves what you just saw there. Hang on. He does that thing where it'll be like 10, 20, 30 hang-ons. I've never seen a Bannon impression. Maybe I'll try one, but I think I just did it. That's the best I got.
On that, that in and of itself is shocking. Just hit rewind on that whole thing.
Yeah, the president, the FBI treated the president of the United States, a man twice elected president by the American people, as a continuous national security threat from July of 2016, in the middle of his first campaign, to January 2025, when he was sworn in for his second inauguration.
The deep state going after him from the minute it happened. Well, actually, well before that, they were violating the civil liberties of candidate Trump nonstop, and 4 of these investigations. There were the overt coup attempts to remove President Trump with impeachment. There were covert and overt. There were surreptitious efforts nonstop.
To these investigations had code names, but at the end of the day, what they were was an effort to get Donald Trump, and it swept up hundreds of Americans, Charlie Kirk and his group, and Rudy Giuliani and his legal work, and Joe DeGenevieve and Victoria Tensi, many other people, all swept up in an effort to find some dirt that they could hang on the president's house. And
anything they could find. You're telling me if they had Epstein dirt, they wouldn't have used it 10 years ago? We can have a lot of ideas and hunches and suspicions, but I can speak with fair with some clarity, some relative certainty, that if the deep state had enough from Epstein to nail Trump on the wall, they would have. They wouldn't have needed E. Jean Carroll being coaxed and paid. They wouldn't have needed Alvin Bragg and Fani Willis changing and tweaking laws and bringing up BS charges nonstop. Makes a phone call regarding the Burisma Ukrainian-Russian situation. They impeached him over that. Shortly before, all-out war breaking out over there because of Victoria Nuland, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and all of their meddling. They impeached Trump for trying to get to the bottom of the Ukraine corruption. Of course they were doing all these things behind the scenes too. Of course they were.
I think when you look at it from that 30,000-foot perspective, you have one of the clearest pictures of what looks to be a conspiracy to deprive certain Americans of their civil liberties, much like what the Justice Department brought against the Ku Klux Klan and corrupt police departments back in the 1960s in the civil rights era. You now have a new version of it in 2026, which looks at the FBI and associated intelligence agencies and government agencies as potentially depriving the civil rights of President Trump and those around him. And by the way, Harmeet Dillon is quoted in the story. She's the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, saying exactly that in the story today.
So essentially for 10 years, almost a decade, the deep state, the FBI and others believed that and treated him with 4 different serious investigations that the current commander-in-chief and president of the United States, 3 times elected, as you're showing now in Maricopa, 3 times elected by the American people, was a major national security and counterintelligence threat. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was treated that way, even though there was never any evidence to really prove it. Remember what John Durham said. No evidence to that. At the end of the day,
The Durham report that sort of went nowhere.
the president's now all the charges against him have been dismissed. And a lot of these investigations look like they were predicated. This is something Kash Patel has said, predicated improperly, including the raid on President Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago. Remember those FBI documents saying, we don't have probable cause. They did it anyways. That's the sort of potential violations that the Justice Department could look at.
Trump.
Hang on. That's my Bannon impression.
Trump target.
TikTok. I sure hope we get to the bottom of this, and I sure hope people are helping. This is 5 Iranian women soccer players, David Harris Jr. reports, being pulling off a dramatic escape from their IRGC handlers inside their Australian hotel. Regime agents chased them down stairwells while the players hid in an elevator in a locked garage door, bought them just enough time to get away.
Iranian security agents and team officials have just realised 5 of their players are gone.
They were trying to escape through the car park downstairs.
They run down the fire escape hoping to intercept them.
Because the elevator down to the garage takes too long, so the staircase is a better option.
Player supporters Tina and Lee give chase.
This music behind this video is not going to pop as a copyright thing. I know that's always an issue with YouTube, but we're trying to get to the story underneath this here.
Interference.
You're in Australia, you better run.
And hurling insults.
Get out of our country, IRGC.
What I saw, the coach, the translator, and a few other members of their security desperately trying to get to the car park themselves. They were even banging on the door.
He goes down to try to get down into the garage, and the door is locked. So whether that was locked intentionally, it's a fire escape. The door should be open.
After hitting a dead end, the group runs back up.
By the way, that's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, otherwise known as the Revolutionary Guards, Pastoran or Sepa in Persian. The powerful branch of Iran's armed forces, established in 1979. That's who they're getting away from.
Lee and Tina on their tails.
Looks like a couple of players were trying to get out, and they found out about it.
Upstairs in the lobby, the reality of the situation sets in.
And that's when you could see the distress. He looked like a man who had failed his job.
Very distraught. And, I think they were even yelling at one point.
They came in and out of the hotel, back into the lobby. There was chaos with them trying to figure out what to do.
It was during this chaotic time that the girls were able to leave the hotel.
So now what's going to happen? Actually, I will leave that as a comment. So what's going to happen to the women forced to return? Yeah, the Democrats, the NGOs have all coaxed people to say, I'm a political prisoner. I'm seeking asylum. They're given like little cards. Just repeat these lines and they're magic. It's a magic spell. Then you get to stay in America forever. And you're like, no, that's not how any of this works. But they think they found a loophole, and the Democrats exploited it because then they intend, of course, as some people say, to create ballots in their name, to give them driver's license, to get them into the polling places, or to get a ballot created for that person that maybe never gets delivered, but gets delivered to a polling place. There's just so much fraud going on. Step one, you got to destroy the Democrat Party. Step two, get rid of every rhino. I don't like Republicans. I don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of the Republican Party, but step one, you got to stop the Democrats who are flooding this nation with illegal aliens. But yeah, occasionally you will have some people with legitimate asylum claims, but they're the boy that cried wolf. They killed the goose that laid the golden egg. That's always been the unions. One of the biggest knocks on the unions. They demand so much of shutting everything down. Okay. Now, you want to see the biggest heap of shit you've ever seen? Oh yeah, that's Bill Clinton. Look at how this dude is falling apart. He looks like he lived the life that he lived. Laser, the conservative, says this is hands down the biggest load of bullshit you will ever hear. He says, the girls
and women whose lives Jeffrey Epstein destroyed deserve not just justice, but healing.
No, you're seeing and hearing this right. Mr. Epstein, who actually took the Lolita Express, how many times? Was it 26, 36, 46? Allegedly. This guy's giving a statement to try to absolve himself. That's a bold strategy, Clinton. Let's see if it plays off for you.
They've been waiting too long for both. Though my brief acquaintance with Epstein ended years before his crimes came to light, and though I never witnessed during our limited interactions any indication with what was truly going on, I offered the little I do know in the hopes that it would help prevent anything like this from ever happening again. I also have to say something personal.
Wow.
Republicans made Hillary testify yesterday, and she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, nothing. She has no memory of ever even meeting him. She neither traveled with him nor visited any of his properties. So whether 10 people or 10,000 people were subpoenaed, including her, was simply not right.
By the way, in case you're wondering, you're like, wow, Bill Clinton is, whew. Man, does he look horrible, right? Without looking, what is the age of Bill Clinton? What is the age of President Trump? Tell us in the comments. Without looking, without Googling, grokking, don't Google, grok. Without looking it up, what's the age of Bill Clinton and what's the age of Trump?
So here's what I told the committee.
What did you tell the committee?
First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committed.
Of course you had no idea. I did not have relations with any of those Epstein women.
No matter how many photos they show of me.
No matter how many times you see me reaching for, that picture from my attorney. I was kind of reminiscing and brought a big smile to my face. You didn't see that. That didn't happen.
I have two things that at the end of the day matter far more than any interpretation of 20-year-old photos.
My left and my right Well, you know.
I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see.
That depends on what your definition of the word is.
And I know what I did.
I think we all know what you did.
And more importantly, what I didn't do.
What I didn't do, definition of the word didn't. That depends on what that is. Or isn't.
I
or did.
Saw
or didn't. You know?
Nothing and I did nothing wrong.
I see no evil, I speak no evil, and I hear no evil.
Wrong.
I live with evil. Her name's Hillary. Whew. What a steaming load of garbage. Clinton looks to be about 100. Yeah, that's okay, Bill. God knows what you did. Let me put him back up for comparison.
The girls.
Bill Clinton, same exact age as President Trump. Can you believe that? The same age as Trump. Both born in 1946. Obviously, they weren't born at the exact same time and not the exact same day, but both born in 46. They're both 79 years old. June and August. 2 months apart. They're the same age. Bill looks exactly like he's been living how you know he's been living.
The girls and women whose lives Jeffrey Epstein destroyed.
It had nothing to do with us destroying them. And our Clinton Foundation did a lot of good for those girls in Jamaica or Haiti or one of them, you know, Caribbean islands down there. There were those little bikinis or sometimes no bikini at all, you know. They showed me pictures and kind of brought a smile to my eye. Reminded me of when Hillary was a young girl. Remember when she was trying that case of grape against that little girl and she laughed about getting her client off? Well, not like that. Got off. No, you know what I mean about Hillary and that whole case. Brought me back to better days. Bill Clinton, everybody. He saw nothing, knows nothing, did nothing. Okay. Well, if there's not too much music, I would like to play this for you.
This was the shot heard around the world.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
They're not the person who ought to be leading the movement if they are spending all day criticizing the president of the United States as covering up a Mossad rape ring.
Your taxpayer dollars are going to subsidize pedophile rings.
Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. We're not going to let this go.
Or being a tool of the Israelis for hitting an Iranian nuclear facility.
Would you say it's a good idea to use military force to strike potential Iranian nuclear targets? My whole life, I've been told that Iran is getting a bomb. Iran is getting a bomb.
They're minutes away. They're months away, if not weeks or days.
Iran is getting a bomb. Iran is getting a nuclear bomb. And yet here in 2025, they do not have a nuclear bomb. We push back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border. So maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question. You know, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know.
Eyebrows up. Remember that moment? Excuse me, motherfucker? That's what he just said with his caterpillar eyebrows.
I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years.
And again, you know, one of my great irritations is when people use the third person plural without specifying who they're talking about and say they.
They were wrong about Iraq. They were wrong about Syria. They were wrong about Afghanistan. They were wrong about the Taliban.
The media? The Democrats, the globalists.
They were wrong about Libya. They were wrong about the Arab Spring. They were wrong about Yemen. They were wrong about the Arabian Peninsula. They were wrong about the 9/11 hijackers being Saudi Arabian, but hey, 10 times the charm. This time we're actually right. Yeah, you're going to have to earn our trust on this one.
Charlie's voice is not silent. We're going to pick up that bloodstained microphone where Charlie left it.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
Today, obviously, I just came back from Shabbat, from Sabbath, to the news of what is going on. And let's just say this. President Trump is the most courageous commander-in-chief in modern American history. There is no question about this. What he just did is the bravest move.
I am going to continue to ask the question. A 20-hour response in a country the size of New Jersey. That begs a big explanation. And more importantly, America is significantly underwriting the Israeli government $4 billion a year. We as American taxpayers deserve answers to this. We deserve answers. Also, if we're going to get into a regional or world war based on an intel failure, so, I mean, we pay for this. What are we buying, right? I got smeared as a Jew hater, an anti-Semite, and conspiracy theorist because I said exactly what I just said. And I refuse to back down despite all the smears thrown at me because I learned during COVID. I learned when they told us that it came from a bat in the Himalayas. I learned when they told us the vaccine was safe and effective. I learned when they told us that ivermectin was horse paste, that you better keep asking questions because it's the only thing that keeps us free. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Candace Owens says Charlie Kirk was the first casualty of the war in Iran. Never forget what they did to him.
This was the shot heard around the world.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great. Presented without much comment there. But I could ask the question, do you agree with Candace Owens or disagree with Candace Owens that Charlie Kirk was the first casualty in the American war with Iran? Agree or disagree?
Goodbye.
All right. Talking about our monetary system. Fed Now. You've heard about Fed Now? I don't know this guy, but let's take a listen here. Sweet FAFO.
Goodbye Zelle, goodbye PayPal, goodbye Venmo. Every app that you have on your phone that is a payment processor, say goodbye. And welcome to Fed Now.
I don't want that. By the way, speaking of which, they're all scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Venmo and Cash App is my name, Brian Engelman. In PayPal, it's fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com, as well as Patreon, Rumble, and YouTube subscriptions, Rumble rant tips, and Super Chat tips. Let's keep going.
Fed Now should be launching in July 1st or so, and that's going to be the new payment processor. It's supposed to be able to transfer payments 365, 7 days a week, 24/7. Now, it's all fun and nice and dandy or whatever, but here is the problem. This is where things get bad, right? We're also accustomed to quick, fast, and in a hurry. We want it right now. Now, that's what they're promoting. But here's the big issue. Fed Now will be the funnel that all money gets cycled through. It will go from your bank to Fed Now to wherever you're trying to send the money to. So, for instance, if you're trying to buy something from Instacart or anything you're buying online, Amazon, it's going to go from your bank to Fed Now to Amazon, Walmart, wherever it is you're going to. Now, this is a problem. This is a major problem because now the federal government has full access to your bank account. And not just that, in the fine print, it says that the Fed Now is programmable. Now, those of you guys that don't understand what programmable means, let me break this down to you. If, for an example, if Let's say we happen to have a pandemic or whatever it is, and they decide, hey, only essential workers are able to go to work. If they know that you're not an essential worker, they can shut down your FedNow card to where, hey, you will not be able to get gas. You will not be able to use that credit card nowhere because you're not supposed to be out.
It's your mark of the beast. You can't buy or sell any goods without authorization.
Now, let me give you another example. Let's say you want to go and you want to buy ammo. And you go over to Ammo Bros or Turner's or whatever the case is, and you say, hey, I want to buy 300 rounds of 9mm. You go, you give them your card, denied. You cannot purchase ammo. Why? The federal government doesn't want you to purchase any ammo. That's how FedNow will work. They will have full control and full access to turn on and off your bank account.
Think about the Canadian truckers.
Now, when this stuff pops up on your phone as an update, make sure that you guys do not comply with this. Do not accept. Read what you're accepting before you accept it. Every banking system, major banking system will have this starting July 1st. Now, this is more so an introduction of the CBDC. Goodbye Zelle, goodbye PayPal, goodbye Venmo, every app that you have on your
phone. All right. Be aware.
Goodbye Zelle.
Let's be honest.
Charlie Kirk warned us about Iran.
Let's be honest. This is more Israel pushing for Iran. But is that America's problem?
And how long after he said this was he taken out by somebody?
That's a question. I mean, maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is, you know what? They were wrong about Iraq.
I think wrong about Iraq, wrong about Syria, wrong about Afghanistan, wrong about the Taliban, wrong about Libya, wrong about the Arab Spring, wrong about Yemen, wrong about the Arabian.
They were wrong about the 9/11 hijackers being Saudi Arabian.
I think we did just hear this clip. 10th time's a charm.
Right. Yeah, you're going to have to earn our trust on this one. Let's be.
A lot of people sharing Charlie Kirk commentary on Iran lately. Let's switch to another topic. Here's Representative Jim McGovern goes nuclear on Republicans' plan to give Bayer total immunity to mass poison Americans with glyphosate. Full disclosure, I often tell you to retire every Democrat everywhere, always. This issue, this one issue, I don't want anything to do with this shit anymore, this glyphosate stuff. Zero. I don't want it anywhere. So let's take a listen.
I want to speak directly to the MAHA movement, to the millions of Americans who voted to make America healthy again. I'm a Democrat. I know we don't agree on everything, but I think we share some common ground because I share your outrage. I think it is wrong that ultra-processed junk is cheaper than fresh food. And I'm sick and tired of big ag profiting off pesticides while small family farms get squeezed out of business. I'm disgusted by corporations pumping toxins into our air and water. Chronic disease and cancer are skyrocketing while our government cheers them on. And I believe the direction this farm bill is going, the direction this country is going under Republican leadership, is a betrayal of MAHA. I can point to example after example. PFAS, toxic forever chemicals. They're linked to endocrine disruption, decreased fertility, lower sperm counts. I've been working on eliminating PFAS for years after my constituent got cancer from PFAS in his firefighting gear. MAHA moms and influencers thankfully helped propel PFAS into public debate. And instead of siding with MAHA, what did this administration do? They delayed setting limits for PFAS in our drinking water. Who knows why? Maybe ask the chemical companies. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of pesticides have PFAS in them. How about glyphosate?
We'll get to glyphosate in a second. PFAS, polyfluoroalkyl substances, Man-made chemicals used since the 40s and 50s in a wide range of consumer, commercial, and industrial products, nicknamed forever chemicals because they're extremely persistent. They break down very slowly or not at all in the environment and in the human body, leading to long-term buildup. They contain strong carbon-fluorine bonds, one of the toughest in chemistry, making them resistant to heat, water, oil, grease, and stains. Non-stick cookware, Teflon coatings, waterproof stain-resistant clothing, carpets and fabrics, food packaging, fast food wrappers, microwave popcorn bags, firefighting foams at airports and military sites, cosmetics, shampoos, paints, detergents, and more. They enter the environment through the manufacturing, product use, disposal, and wastewater, contaminating soil, air, surface water, groundwater, fish, and food chains. I don't want any of that shit.
For years, many of us have been sounding the alarm. It's another toxic chemical sprayed on our food. It's the main ingredient in Roundup. There's dozens of class action lawsuits because we now know that for decades, chemical companies hid the fact that Roundup causes cancer. Again, many in Maha have rightly spoken out. So can a single Republican on this committee tell me why Donald Trump issued an executive order to expand production of glyphosate?
I asked the same thing. I will keep asking the same thing. What in holy hell is that all about? I don't like anything about it.
And now, big surprise, we have a farm bill that doubles down. This bill grants corporate immunity to the chemical companies. Look it up. Title 10, Section 10205. Section 10206 goes on to prevent localities from regulating pesticides. Section 10207 allows more toxic chemicals to be dumped into our water. Section after section of this bill, one giveaway after another to the pesticide companies. What lobbyists asked for this? Was that drafted in the Monsanto boardroom or something? Follow the money. Follow the money. Big ag and chemical companies are two sides of the same coin, all part of the same corrupt machine. One makes the chemicals, the other profits from driving family farms out of business. Both sides buy off politicians, and both sides profit when the rules are rigged against the little guys. And that's exactly what this farm bill does. And I want to speak directly to the Maha movement, to the millions of Americans who voted to...
I think it reset though. All right, well, good to Jim McGovern.
And I want to speak directly.
All right, Babylon B with a terrifying report here. Iran warns the United States that it has huge stockpile of supreme leaders. Iran warns the United States that it has huge stockpile of supreme leaders. Babylon B once again. Kenneth said, Fed now is what the waitress asked me before handing me the bill. Fed, now this. Well done. How long has this guy been working to change something? I'd love to know. Maybe only because Trump did something. But I don't like this glyphosate thing at all, so go get him. Entering manhood. Ask this question. What is happening to our space scientists? MIT plasma physicist was murdered. A Caltech astrophysicist was murdered. Retired Air Force Major General. I am the model of a modern Major General. Retired Air Force Major General associated with UFO programs vanishes, all within weeks of each other. It must be lunchtime. Kenneth says taco supreme leaders. That'll be an extra 49 cents. Yeah, something's going on. MIT plasma physicist, Caltech astrophysicist, retired Air Force Major General associated with UFO programs vanishes. I don't know if they were all within weeks, but they were kind of... Let's say these are connected. Button. Dropping breadcrumbs across the internet, hoping people will follow. What's up? Breaking. American veterans have started a trend, dusting off their uniforms and ready to answer the call if our nation needs defending. Have you seen this? Can we all fit into our uniforms? We being the proverbial we. Gotta mute it. We better all be ready to stand up at a moment's notice. Not that these people want to get involved, but it's sort of like I said before. About the quote that Charlie Kirk liked to use. Yeah, it's good when the outfits still fit.
Feeling good. 10 miles. Looking good. Looking.
Are we ready to defend this country? I feel like there's a lot of people that want to take this down, just in case Washington calls. All right. By the way, the full quote, King James Version, also, what is it? What is the quote? Isaiah chapter 6. Also, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" Then said I, "Here am I, send me." And that's what these people are doing. They're like, well, if it ever comes down to it, I'm stepping up. I'm getting ready right now. You don't think I see the writing on the wall? We all need to defend this country. Like Leon says, Trump is telling Iranian people to take back their country. Maybe we should do that over here. You know? Midterms are so long away. All right, let's talk about the SAVE Act. Here's Benny Johnson talking with John Solomon about something that might break on the Director of National Intelligence. We have foreign interference in our elections. New information. Will the new information sway voting on this?
Your take on Maricopa County. You're saying that what's going to happen is we're going to find out the Chinese had a major heavy hand in rigging election? What's your take on the raid yesterday in Maricopa?
Yeah, it wasn't really a raid. It was a grand jury subpoena, but they grabbed the stuff. There will be some search warrants executed in the coming days based on my reporting. They're looking at, in Maricopa County, it's a very technical thing, just like it was in Georgia. Did you follow state law? Because if you didn't administer a federal election as it was supposed to be under state law, you can be charged federally. It's just about doing the right thing and following the law. But above that, not in Maricopa County, not in Fulton County, there is an extraordinary review going on by the CIA director, the FBI director, the director of national intelligence, so Tulsi Gabbard, John Ratcliffe, and Kash Patel. They have found a body of documents that I think will trouble all of us and probably will have a profound effect on the Senate debate over the Save America Act. A lot of senators are sitting up there saying, I don't know if I need to vote for this. I don't know what the politics is. Wait a second. When they find out that maybe voter identities in their state databases were penetrated by China and used in influence operations, that may change their mind. And so I think the debate in the Senate could be informed by what comes out in the next few weeks.
Oh, fascinating. Oh, that's so interesting. Your take on Maricopa County. You're saying that what's going to happen is we're going to find out the Chinese had a major heavy hand.
All right. So fingers crossed.
Your take on Maricopa.
And we begin tonight with 3 letters for you.
Ben Swan, his reports have too much music in it. WTF, that apparently was the U.S. response to Israeli military action over the weekend. An action that took the United States by surprise, and it left many of us wondering just how closely the U.S. and Israel are actually coordinating strategy in this now week-old war against Iran. Over the weekend, Israel took the fight against Iran to a whole new level, striking 30 Iranian oil refineries across the entire country, causing scenes, well, like this one here, apocalyptic level fires throughout the country. Massive plumes of smoke Fire in the very streets as burning fuel leaked into the sewage.
Now pollution and acid rain across Iran and Central Asia are threatening massive health consequences.
Families that we claimed we were there to liberate right now are breathing in massive toxins as black rain is falling from the sky. The attack was so surprising and unprecedented that even super neocon in chief, Senator Lindsey Graham, asked the Israelis to show some restraint, and that is saying something. That's because even someone as rapidly obsessed with war, rabidly, as Lindsey Graham understands that actions can sometimes have consequences. See, Israel has just given Iran legitimate reason to respond in kind. Yes, strikes on Iran's oil facilities hurt, and they hurt badly, but they mostly hurt the people of Iran, not the regime. But you know who else they hurt? If Iran decides to do the exact same thing in Saudi Arabia, how about the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, the entire Gulf region? All the countries that have up until now been strong allies of the United States and whose economies depend almost 100% on their ability to sell oil on the global market. Here we can see one of Bahrain's oil refineries already burning after an Iranian strike. In fact, the troubling news about the world's oil and natural gas supply is coming in so hot and heavy right now, it's almost hard to keep up, with Saudi Arabia now cutting production at 2 of its oil fields. And with the Strait of Hormuz shut down, almost all of the Gulf states have, to some degree or another, cut their production or canceled contracts with clients across Europe and Asia. And the result of all this has been chaos on the oil markets, with oil hovering between $110 and $120 per barrel. This morning, by the way, oil dropped about 15% at the beginning of the day when it was reported that the EU would release between 300 and 400 million barrels from their critical reserves. But in terms of oil in reserve and strategic reserve, there's a lot of oil available. But would they be tapped? And as we heard last week, Japanese refiners were telling their government to try to go forward with tapping their reserves. But this sort of action by governments works best in course, which is why they're discussing this according to, it's hard to read these, other G7. We'll find out more later as it comes closer.
In the market that there is no end in sight for the what's happening in the Middle East, the war in Iran, and as long as there's no end in sight, the idea that the Strait of Hormuz, which is a vital waterway for 20% of seaborne oil and
fuel products, that's going to remain shut, and that's going to cause a strain on the markets, prices, and consumers. But oil reserves have limits, and already the United States gas prices have risen 43 cents in just a week. 43 is a trend which, if continues, could spell doom for the GOP in the midterms. Meanwhile, in the UK, they only have 2 days of stored gas reserves, sparking long lines at gas stations. There, as but set the oil price aside for a second, there's other bad news.
Data centers are now being struck throughout the Gulf, threatening global markets and the internet. And there is more. See, there is a terrific analysis on X that breaks down all these issues and how they're connected, from data centers to
EV batteries. They're all interconnected with oil. One word for you: sulfur. Take a look. Here's what happens when 20 million barrels of oil per day disappear. 92% of the world's sulfur comes from oil and gas refining. Sulfur leads to sulfuric acid. And without it, you can't extract copper, cobalt, and nickel. Without those metals, no transformers, no EV batteries, no data center substrates, no electronics, period. This is why everything about this war is so much worse than what the administration seems to have prepared for. And they were not prepared for a prolonged conflict. They were not ready for Iran to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. They're absolutely not ready for this war to drag on until September. They're not ready for $150, $250 barrel oil. Not ready for the world. The world isn't ready, but it appears as if Iran is. Well, damn, Ben Swan. Sorry, that was supposed to be on that screen. I was too busy reading. I couldn't see it. Kenneth, I ran. Now I'm winded. So the story is that Trump and the military are going to secure the passageway in the Strait of Hormuz. That's the story. Is it accurate? Is it going to happen? Is it happening? I don't know. All eyes on the Strait of Hormuz. What does Ras say? Iran's back is against the wall. You can't blame him. Bibi started this madness. I don't know why the thought of him calling for an attack on Iran for 40 years wouldn't have made the Iranians prepare for war. Danny says, watch Israel to attack the Al-Aqsa Mosque complex, then blame it on Iran. Blame it on Iran. All right. Got a couple of these here. Let's see. To a fangirl. I don't know what account this is. Peachy Keenan. California Post reports a woman was brutally beaten at MacArthur Park while feeding the homeless. Peachy Keenan says the beatings will continue until liberal white women improve. Ricardo says, most amazing experience. It's a must-see. 5 stars. Come explore the sites. I guarantee you will definitely not be disappointed. It's the greatest thing in all of Los Angeles. Load up the kids, bring them down here. There are plenty of syringes and crack pipes laying around to entertain them for hours. Bring minimal money with you because the imminent robbery you'll experience need not wipe you out, but to lose a few bucks to experience a real-life mugging, it's not to be missed. What is this? A woman loses at chess to an 11-year-old lower-ranked boy. She says, I'm a grandmaster. He says, yeah, but you're a woman grandmaster. I don't know what this is. Let me ask Grok. Different grandmaster requirements and skill sets for men and women? That makes no sense. It's not physical. No. Has the exact same requirements for men and women. No gender-based differences. I don't know what that post is. Robin says, shares this scene from The Truman Show. Tell her women are equal to men her entire life, and then import millions of men from the third world who see her as inferior. Almost like if you had somebody behind the scenes playing the producer. That's what somebody would be doing. Savannah Hernandez says, remember the time we gave Republicans the House and the Senate and expected every common sense bill like the SAVE Act, which still hasn't been passed, to be pushed through to the president's desk, and then nothing happened? Republicans will continue to tank since they refuse to do everything we actually elected them to do. Look at that gap. Massive gap, and now it's just down to 6 points. Cernovich, who's on the intro to this show, says Abigail Spanberger's inauguration was January 17 of 26. Not even 2 months later, she and the Democrat Virginia state majority are banning guns and making Virginia a sanctuary state. It's been how long since the GOP won the House and Senate? What have they accomplished? First, they came for Canada, and I said nothing. Then they came for Texas, and I spoke. That's the story of David and John in Marion. Canada versus Texas. Oh, Tyler doesn't like the Rolly guy, Greg Abbott. Texas is going to roll you and your traitorous wheelchair back to India once I'm done with you. Ooh. In the comments, you guys dislike Greg Abbott as well, right? And if so, why? Tell me in the comments. Well, this is the team responsible for GoldenEye 64. Austria's far-right remigration party, the FPO, is poised to sweep elections. An oilfield rando says LMAO, the EU, is going to nullify another election to protect democracy, aren't they? Rock says saving America is going to require severe levels of discrimination. Well, discriminating against anti-American sentiment is definitely necessary. Now, we had a comment earlier. Who was the new commenter? Where was that? We looked it up. Where'd it go? Do I not see it anymore? Outlaw in the comments said something about the Civil Rights Act. Will Tanner says if Trump really wanted to destroy Iran, he'd force it to accept the Civil Rights Act. Nagasaki is fine now, but Detroit is a train wreck. Huh. Kyle Kalinsky says, I'm telling you, there's no doubt Trump is floating nuking Iran. For the love of God, impeach the madman immediately. History is watching. Hopefully we don't end up down that path. That doesn't sound good. Hunter Thompson's daily routine is both predictable and outrageous, if not apocryphal, according to E. Jean Carroll's biography. Oh, E. Jean Carroll, look at that. The one that worked with the founder of LinkedIn to frame President Trump, allegedly. Woke up at 3 p.m., had a Chivas with the morning papers and a Dunhill cigarette. 3:45 cocaine. 3:50 another glass of Chivas Dunhill, then a cup of coffee and a cigarette. 4:15 cocaine, then orange juice and a cigarette, then cocaine, then coffee and a cigarette, more ice in the Chivas, then cocaine, grass to take the edge off. Woody Creek Tavern for lunch. Heineken, 2 margaritas, 2 cheeseburgers, 2 orders of fries, a plate of tomatoes, coleslaw, taco salad, a double order of onion rings, carrot cake, ice cream, bean fritter, cigarettes, another Heineken, cocaine, and for the ride home, a snow cone, which is a glass of shredded ice over which is poured 3 or 4 jiggers of Chivas. Then at 9 p.m., cocaine. Then at 10, you drop acid. Then chartreuse and cocaine and grass. Then at 11:30, cocaine. And then at midnight, Hunter S. Thompson is ready to write. From midnight to 6 a.m., chartreuse and cocaine and weed and Chivas and coffee and Heineken and clove cigarettes and grapefruit and cigarettes and orange juice and gin. 6 a.m., go in the hot tub for champagne and Dove bars and fettuccine Alfredo. I don't know what halcyon is. And then sleep. Claire says this is a reminder of what your day-to-day life is supposed to look like. That's funny. The Persian Jewess here says, the remaining Iranian women's soccer players were forcibly dragged onto a plane today to return to be punished by the Islamic regime. This is likely the last time anyone will see them alive. Horrible. There are no words. Why did Australia do this? This Sarah says, per President Trump's request, they were given asylum, but some decided to return for the fear of their loved ones' safety in Iran. It's a sad situation. Pray for them. We did, and let's keep praying for them. Just a reminder that in the 1990s and early 2000s, America hit its peak. Can't really show you this because the WWE, if you play just a moment of their stuff, they will flag your account. Pure testosterone. 98 to 08, best decade for WWE. What a great time to be alive. I remember these times. These times were great. And then 9/11 happened and everything changed. They stole our country. That's a good name for it. Lawstralia. Lawstralia. That's a good one. That's a drug-filled day, I would say. That rhymes. Kenneth calls it the Hunter Biden diet. Well done. Well, it's Hunter S. Thompson and Hunter Biden. Yeah, there's something we can do with the hunters there. Marion says Greg Abbott spins his actions in as much as his wheels, only attempts to do things during election season. Lake Leon says Abbott's a traitor rhino, only talks tough and does very little to keep the money coming in. Plus, he uses buses and planes to allow illegals in the country. All right. Those are the stories I want to share with you on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram at The New American Media. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with a friend. Remember, we have Rumble rant tips and Super Chat tips. We are 11 days into the month. We got some rookie numbers out there in our Rumble rant Super Chat realm, so please consider dropping some. All right, let's switch over to our X account at American_media_. Pinned at the top is our link to our Patreon. That's where you can become a monthly subscriber. Thank you to everybody who has, and thank you to everybody who will. It's definitely appreciated, always appreciated. Okay. How could that have happened? I'll have to check on that. All right. This X article from Amuse says that Thune is lying. Current Senate rules do not make the Save America Act passage impossible. Thune argues passing Save America Act in the face of a threatened talking filibuster would be procedurally impossible. His reasoning is simple. Senate rules, he says, allow unlimited debate and unlimited amendments. If both claims were true, the conclusion would follow. A determined minority could bury the bill in speeches and amendments until the majority surrendered. But the claims are not true. Debate is not unlimited. Amendments are not unlimited. Both are bound by long-standing Senate rules and practices that any experienced majority leader understands. The real question is not whether the Senate rules make passage impossible. The real question is whether the majority is willing to use the tools already available to it. Begin with debate. The phrase unlimited debate is often used as shorthand for the Senate filibuster, but the phrase is misleading if taken literally. Senate Rule XIX, was that 19, contains what is called the two-speech rule. Under this rule, a senator may speak only twice on the same question during the same legislative day unless the Senate grants permission to speak again. That rule matters because it imposes a structural limit on how often a senator can take the floor on the same matter. The limit becomes clearer when we understand the concept of a legislative day. A legislative day is not the same thing. Where'd that go? A legislative day is not the same thing as a calendar day. A legislative day begins when the Senate adjourns and ends when it adjourns again. If the Senate recesses rather than adjourning, the legislative day continues. That means a legislative day can extend across many calendar days. In principle, it could extend for weeks or months. Now, consider what follows from these two rules taken together. Each senator receives 2 speeches per legislative day on a given question. If the legislative day continues without adjournment, senators eventually exhaust their speeches. They can no longer rise repeatedly on the same matter. Debate can continue for some time because the Senate has many members, but it cannot continue indefinitely through repetition by the same speakers. The history of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 illustrates how leadership choices shape the length of debate. When the bill reached the Senate floor, Southern Democrats launched one of the longest filibusters in congressional history. Majority Leader Mike Mansfield faced a strategic choice. He could attempt to exhaust the filibustering senators physically by keeping the legislative day open for extended periods, or he could allow the Senate to adjourn each evening and begin a new legislative day the next morning. Mansfield chose the second path. By adjourning each day, he allowed senators to receive 2 new speeches every day. Debate, therefore, continued for roughly 60 days. The choice was deliberate. Mansfield was not trying to crush the filibuster through exhaustion. His goal was to allow debate to unfold while building the bipartisan coalition necessary to reach the 2/3 cloture threshold required at the time. The historical episode shows something important. The duration of a filibuster depends heavily on how the majority structures the legislative day. Mansfield allowed the day to reset because his strategy required prolonged debate, but a majority leader who wishes to limit speeches can simply keep the legislative day open. In that case, the 2-speech rule steadily constrains the supply of available speeches. The second claim made by Thune concerns amendments. Here, the misunderstanding is even greater. Many observers imagine the Senate floor as a place where senators can rise endlessly and offer amendments one after another without constraint. Nerds. Just a bunch of nerds with the Robert's Rules of Order. In reality, that was me. In reality, Senate procedure uses a structure known as the amendment tree. This structure determines how many amendments may be pending at any given time. The easiest way to understand the amendment tree is through analogy. Imagine a literal tree with branches. Each branch represents a possible amendment slot. Once every branch is occupied, the tree is full. When the tree is full, no additional amendments are in order. Senators must first dispose of an existing amendment before another can be offered. For a typical Senate bill, the full amendment tree contains 15 theoretical amendment positions. The precise configuration depends on whether the first amendment is a first-degree amendment, a substitute amendment, or a motion to strike. Where is that? There we go. But the central point does not change. The number of amendment slots is finite. Once the slots are filled, the Senate cannot consider additional amendments until one of the existing amendments is resolved. This procedural structure has an important consequence. The majority leader enjoys priority recognition on the Senate floor. When multiple senators seek recognition, the presiding officer traditionally recognizes the majority leader first. Because of this privilege, the majority leader can offer amendments sequentially and occupy the available slots in the amendment tree before the minority has a chance to act. The tactic is known as filling the amendment tree. Once the tree is filled, the minority cannot offer additional amendments unless the majority chooses to allow it. The amendment queue is effectively closed. The Senate must vote on or dispose of the existing amendments before any new amendments can be proposed. Both parties use this tactic repeatedly. During the Obama administration, Majority Leader Harry Reid filled the amendment tree frequently in order to block Republican amendments. Later, when Republicans controlled the Senate, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell used the same tactic to block Democratic amendments. In many of those cases, the minority received 0 amendment votes. Understanding this practice clarifies why the phrase unlimited amendments is misleading. The Senate does not allow an endless stream of amendments to accumulate simultaneously. The amendment tree imposes a cap. If the majority fills the tree and refuses to open it, the minority cannot force votes on new amendments. Suppose the Senate were debating the Save America Act and the majority filled the amendment tree at the outset. What would follow? Democrats could continue to debate the bill. They could attempt procedural maneuvers, but they could not keep offering amendment after amendment because there would be no available slots in the amendment tree. Could Democrats force amendment votes in other ways? In theory, yes. If the majority voluntarily withdrew an amendment, a slot would open. If the majority agreed by unanimous consent to set aside the amendment tree, the minority could offer amendments, or if the majority lost a procedural vote, the amendment structure might shift, but absent those events, the amendment queue would remain closed. In practice, this means the number of amendments Democrats could realistically force is small. If the majority maintains strict control of the amendment tree, Democrats might receive no amendment votes at all. If leadership allowed a few votes for political reasons, the number might rise to 3 or 5. Only if the majority repeatedly opened the amendment tree or lost procedural discipline would the number approach 10 or more. Notice how different this is from the image suggested by the phrase unlimited amendments. This is like going to, what's that burger place? I'm thinking Johnny Rockets, but that's not it. What's that burger place? With the unlimited refills on their sides. Red Robin. If you only have 15 French fry refill slots on the tree, it's not really unlimited now, is it? So this is different from the image suggested by the phrase unlimited amendments. The real system looks more like a controlled pipeline than an open floodgate. The amendment tree limits how many amendments can exist at once. The majority leader can occupy those positions, and once they're occupied, additional amendments cannot be offered. At this point, a puzzled reader might ask a natural question. If these limits exist, why do journalists and commentators often repeat the language of unlimited debate and unlimited amendments? Part of the answer is rhetorical convenience. The Senate is famous for protecting minority rights, and the phrase unlimited debate captures that tradition in simplified form. But another part of the answer is more practical. The amendment tree is technical. Many reporters covering the Senate have never studied it in detail. This creates an informational asymmetry. When a majority leader says amendments are unlimited, few journalists ask the obvious follow-up question: why not fill the amendment tree? Yet that question points directly to the procedural reality. The Senate rules provide mechanisms for limiting amendments. The issue is not the absence of tools. The issue is whether the majority is prepared to use them. The same pattern appears with debate. A determined minority, by the way, I find this to be incredibly tedious to go through. But I think it's important. We got to figure out what we're talking about. If this stuff is true, and, correct any of it if it is wrong, but if this stuff is true, this is a slam dunk. Just get it on. Get it on. And you keep the session open long enough for everybody to exhaust themselves. Fill the amendment tree, put 15 things in there, get it done. Thank you, Kenneth. Appreciate you, sir. A super chat for a super chat. Ding. When I would bartend, where was I at? Buffalo Wild Wings. We had a bell, and I go ding, 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 ding. When we get a really nice tip. Thank you, Kenneth. Appreciate you, sir. Super chat for a super chat. Great line. I will read that line as often as you want to make me read that line, Kenneth. Thank you. It's a great line. A lot of people say, they said, sir, it's a great line. Kind of a thin red line, a blue line. Don't cross it. The same pattern appears with debate. A determined minority can certainly prolong debate for a significant period. The Senate has 100 members, and each receives 2 speeches per legislative day. But if the legislative day continues long enough, the supply of speeches eventually runs out. The majority does not need to win 60 votes for cloture to impose some limits on debate. Rule 19 already imposes them. Seen in this light, the procedural landscape becomes clearer. Debate is bounded by the two-speech rule. Amendments are bounded by the amendment tree. Both constraints have existed for decades and have been used by both parties. Neither constraint guarantees swift passage of legislation, but both demonstrate that the Senate rules do not create an infinite procedural battlefield. Then what explains Thune's warning? The most plausible explanation concerns political discipline rather than procedural possibility. Since 1975, the Senate has largely operated under what is commonly called the silent filibuster. Senators no longer need to physically hold the floor for days or weeks. Instead, a minority can signal its intent. No. By the way, you want the Democrats debating their completely moronic takes on the Save America Act. Let them tell you that certain groups of people are too stupid to provide proof that they're eligible to vote. Let them keep telling you who they are. Maybe some of these Democrat voters are going to listen. Senators no longer need to physically hold the floor for days or weeks. Instead, a minority can signal its intent to filibuster. The majority agrees to assemble 60 votes for cloture. This modern arrangement isn't an actual rule, but a tradition and requires almost no effort from the minority. A talking filibuster would be different. Senators would need to remain on the floor, speak, coordinate shifts, and physically sustain the debate. That takes time, and time is the Senate's valuable currency. Modern senators devote enormous portions of their schedules to fundraising. A prolonged talking filibuster interferes with that routine. There you go. Can't fundraise. It forces senators to remain in the chamber instead of dialing donors or attending campaign events. Leadership would need to keep members present, fill the amendment tree quickly and keep it filled, and table or defeat whatever hostile amendments reach the floor. Modern senators aren't used to having to work this much. A conference that fractures internally may lose procedural votes. Senators who wish to offer their own amendments may pressure leadership to open the amendment tree. Others may resist the long hours required to maintain control of the floor. If enough members break the ranks, the amendment structure can unravel and the minority can gain additional opportunities. This is the scenario that likely worries the majority leader. It is not that the Senate rules make passage impossible. It is that enforcing the rules requires discipline and effort. Oh no. The uncomfortable possibility is that Leader Thune himself may not wish to run the Senate this way, or he may believe that enough members of his conference would refuse to do the work. Either way, the obstacle is not procedural impossibility. It is a reluctance to perform the demanding part of the job. Senators have not had to truly do that work since the silent filibuster took hold in the 70s, when disco was still fashionable. What Thune describes as a procedural barrier is better understood as a test of whether modern senators are willing to do the job the institution once required of them. In the end, the Senate remains what it has always been, an institution whose rules create opportunities rather than outcomes. The majority has tools, the minority has tactics. If the minority wants the Save America Act to pass badly enough, if the majority wants it to pass badly enough to do the work required to defeat a talking filibuster, the bill will inevitably pass. The minority does not possess a procedural weapon that can permanently stop a determined majority. Yeah, get it started now. We're in March. This takes a few months. Get it done. The minority does not possess a procedural weapon that can permanently stop a determined majority that is willing to hold the floor, fill the amendment tree, and keep voting until the bill is adopted. What the minority can do is raise the cost, slow the process, force long hours, demand sustained discipline. But delay is not defeat. More than 85% of the American people and the president are demanding that the Senate secure our elections now. If the majority treats that demand with the seriousness it deserves, and if it is willing to expend the time and effort required by the institution it serves, then the Save America Act will pass. The only real question is whether the majority is willing to do the work. P.S. Contrary to Senator Thune's false claims that I am being paid to support the Save America Act, I am doing this completely for free. Securing our elections would be payment enough. Written by Alexander Muse. Oh, that's who Amuse is. I didn't know that before. Okay. Alexander Muse. Elon says John Thune needs to sing a different tune. Clever wordplay. All right. Yeah, Eric Daughtry reporting Senate Majority Leader John Thune is bringing a vote on the Save America Act next week with no talking filibuster. What? Why would they do that without a talking filibuster? That's the whole fucking point. meaning it's doomed to fail, but it will force the Democrats to go on the record. It needs 60 votes, and it's not getting 60. This will essentially allow the 53 Republicans, or nearly all, to vote in favor of Save America, say that they tried, and then back off. We, the people, demand a talking filibuster. Let the Democrats embarrass themselves in front of America. Play hardball. Agreed. Data Republican says Senator Thune is the paid influencer. That's the only explanation why he takes the wrong side of an 85-15 issue. Elon agrees. Check out yesterday's show about choosing America's future. Pick one, Islamic extremism or patriotism. Raise your fist. Which side are you on? Patriot Warrior says it's a choice, and I choose patriotism all day, every day. You have chosen wisely. Democrats are now 25 days into the Department of Homeland Security shutdown, and they don't even want to sit down and have negotiations. The shutdown is impacting important functions like cybersecurity, Border Patrol, TSA, Coast Guard, and FEMA, which are all more important than ever in these dangerous times. It's time to end this. America Loving Patriot says, yeah, only losers are constantly whining, consistently whining. Fix it, Thune. I Left NYC says, hey, Leader Thune, with all due respect, and you are due none, you should be fired. GOP has the majority in both houses, a conservative court, and the president, yet you are all impotent against the socialists among you in your ranks. You should lose your position immediately. I agree. Bad Hombre says there are currently 89 major pieces of legislation passed by the House that are stuck in the Senate. The oldest bill, the Illegitimate Court Counteraction Act, is 425 days old. The Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act is 411 days old. This is the least productive Congress in history, leaving President Trump no choice but to govern through executive orders that can be easily reversed later. Leader John Thune, what's the plan to get these all passed and on President Trump's desk before the midterms? Exactly. Jimmy Kimmel says he, being President Trump, wants to change the rules of voting to make it more difficult for everyone, especially women, to vote. You won't even be able to mail your ballots. You will have to stand in a line to vote. Uh-huh. In person, on paper. In person, on paper. We said no more bail-in ballots, untrustworthy, rife with fraud potential. Show up, prove your citizenship requirement, vote on paper, in person. That's it, Jimmy Kimmel. Brandon Straka, the Walk Away Movement, has this to say, or shared this video. Wajat Ali talking to this person.
We found out, Joy, and this pains me as an American.
Joy.
Other countries were laughing at him and laughing at us. I want to tell you all something about Pakistan. My parents are from Pakistan. It's a country with many challenges. My cousin came here from Pakistan, studied, went back. He was about to come to America. You know what he said? He goes, hey, man, I was about to buy a ticket to America, but things look really bad. I'm just going to stick back in Karachi. When people in Pakistan are looking at us and they're like taking pity.
Yeah.
Joy.
I feel sorry for you. It's the problem.
We found out, Joy, and this pains me as an American, other countries were laughing at him and laughing at us. I want to tell you all something about.
Okay. Well, Pakistanis are staying home. You mean America can be for Americans now?
Pakistan.
Okay, Pakistan. Love how he does that eye roll to the top of his. Financial Times reports that white males will have fewer board seats in the future, says UK diversity chair. Rampant discrimination continues in the United Kingdom. Hey, UK, why don't you save your country? Colin Rugg says this Texas teen shoots a woman in the neck who was visiting her friend with cancer before stealing the car belonging to the woman with cancer. Elon says if someone has mental rabies, they must be contained or killed, or they will keep hurting and killing innocent people. Eric Daughtry reports. Well, let's listen to Thune's bullshit.
Run a risk of being on the wrong side of President Trump.
You run a risk of being on the wrong side of President Trump.
Resistance to do this talking filibuster, tying the Senate in knots for weeks.
We don't have the votes either to proceed, get on.
Yes, you do.
On a talking filibuster, nor to sustain one if we got on it.
Yes, you do.
But that is just a function of math, and there isn't anything I can do about that.
Lies.
I understand the president's got a passion to see this issue addressed, as we all do.
Does he understand that, though?
Well, we've conveyed that to him, but we will continue to make that argument because I think it's important that everybody understand that this really is about the votes, it's about the math, and I'm for better or worse, I'm the one who has to be the clear-eyed realist about what we can achieve here. And so we'll continue to convey that, and I think that we're going to have the fight on the floor. We're going to vote on this, we're going to put it up, and we'll give the Democrats the opportunity to cast their vote on whether or not they think non-citizens ought to vote in American elections.
That's not good enough. We just read about that. So what is this? Breaking Point's got a hold of a leaked pitch deck from Punchbowl News. The document reveals how they allow corporations to buy influence over editorial decisions. The White House told us several subscriptions were canceled by the Trump administration as well. We also have their numbers. They've charged corporate sponsors $210,000 for a week of email ads. You can see the pricing sheet with subscriber numbers and open rates below. Emily Jashinsky said that. Data Republican says everyone please follow her. She tried to expose Punchbowl last year and she got a lot of blowback for it. The least we can do is give her a follow. James Tallarico wants to tell you what Jesus Christ and Christianity is about. The new leader of Texas, huh? This guy. You trust this guy?
Christ is the immigrant, deported without due process. Christ is the senior, deprived of their Social Security benefits.
What?
Christ is the protester, kidnapped in an unmarked vehicle by plainclothes officers.
Kidnapped? Protester instead of criminal? This guy is a snake, man. The more we hear of this guy, the less that we like him. Red-headed libertarian says, talking filibuster is literally just the filibuster. Silent filibuster is an addendum that they made up to avoid uncomfortable votes. That's it. President Trump said, the only reason you vote against voter ID is because you want to cheat. There's no other reason. Elon says, yes, the silent filibuster is an outright corruption of democracy, a denial of the will of the supermajority of the people. Mario Nawfal shows Iran state media dating back. Trump and Netanyahu pushing the big red button, missiles hitting Dubai skyscrapers in stop motion. The Royal Air Force in Cyprus rendered in plastic bricks. Their navy is at the bottom of the Arabian Sea. Their supreme leader is dead. Their oil depots are on fire. But the Lego propaganda department is fully operational. Iran's public prosecutor is summoning the women's football team home, now to request a call to return to the homeland. The same women who refused to sing the national anthem in Australia while fans surrounded their bus chanting "Save Our Girls," the prosecutor just made the stakes explicit. Steve Harrigan with a report.
The U.S. intercepted encrypted messages coming out of Iran in the wake of the death of the supreme leader. ABC News reporting an alert went out to law enforcement about these encrypted messages, warning about the possibility of a sleeper cell attack inside the U.S. President Trump addressed those potential concerns.
activated any sleeper cells inside the U.S.?
They've been trying for a long time. We've been very much on top of it. We're watching every single one of them. Yeah, we know a lot about them. The biggest problem we have is the Democrat shutdown. We know a lot about them, but the shutdown doesn't allow us to do what we have to do.
The U.S. intercepted encrypted messages coming out of Iran.
All right. We've been very much on top of it. Nintendo is having Lego Super Mario sets. Have they never done that before? Coming 2027. That's surprising. Rico says, my aunt woke up from a 13-year coma. The comments. Tell her LeBron's still doing it. Tell her D Rose never came back from that injury. Don't tell her GTA 6 still ain't out. She might go back to sleep. Tell her Brady got 7 rings. All right. Brain Crumb says, hit me with the harshest reality truth. Ives says, nobody in 1975 needed a budget app, a financial coach, and a side hustle to afford a 2-bedroom apartment. This isn't a personal finance problem. It's a wage theft problem. Stephen L. Miller says, everything you need to know about the media here summed up in this Olympics article. Who's in control of Iran? David asks. They said it was one of the kids, but that he was injured, but nobody's seen him. Everybody else is dead, but he's the only one that survived. I think they used a cardboard cutout of him. There may be nobody in charge in Iran at the moment. We're not entirely sure. Everything you need to know about our media summed up in these Olympics. Journalists grill American athletes about a rising fascism in the United States. Meanwhile, an American who takes millions of dollars to ski for an actual authoritarian communist dictatorship with concentration camps and zero free speech is treated like a beautified celebrity. This is who our media is. Whoop, how'd I get here? TMZ caught up with Gene Simmons from KISS, who I met and got a picture with back in the day when he became like a co-owner of the, what were they called? The LA KISS. It was like an indoor, he was an indoor football league in Anaheim or something.
I know right now Ben Stiller is calling out the president, saying he doesn't want him to use his movie clips for war propaganda. I mean, it sounds like a lot of people are kind of, criticizing Trump, like Hollywood right now, over this war thing. Is that fair?
Yeah, because everybody in the world should listen what actors and comedians say, because they're so qualified. Basically, shut the f*** up. Do your art and shut up. Nobody's interested in your opinions. That includes me. Who I vote for, who I like. Who the f*** do you think you are? People in America work hard for their living, and they don't want to be lectured to by people who live in mansions and drive Rolls Royces. It's time for everybody in the entertainment industry to shut their pie hole and just do your art. Nobody cares what you think. I don't.
Okay.
What will Mark Ruffalo, however the f*** he pronounces his name.
Mark Ruffalo, yeah.
The lady goes, okay. Did you hear the disdain in her voice? She goes, okay.
To shut their pie hole and just do your art. Nobody cares what you think. I don't.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Don't.
Okay.
What will Mark Ruffalo, however the f*** he pronounces his
Mark
name.
Ruffalo, yeah.
Ruffalo, Buffalo. What does Mark think about politics? I don't care.
So you think celebrities should stay out of the politic talk?
Well, we both agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
Or go to Kylie Jenner and ask her what she thinks of the war so far.
We're all dying to hear what Kylie Jenner has to think. Kiss is now on my list. Great answer, Kiss. Ah, boy. So glad we got some based rock and rollers left, says Heather. Democracy without secure elections is merely a facade. Get the SAVE Act and look at those votes. Oh, it's all sorts of fraud mixed in with this tiny little sheep. Democracy without secure elections is not a democracy at all. The rabbit hole says incentives explain behaviors. Here's the wall that Democrats would build if illegal immigrants voted for Republicans. Minefields, electric fences, machine gun turrets, razor wire. But that's not the case. Sadie says, first, let me say I want the Save America Act passed as much as everyone else, but it is most likely not going to happen. We need to remember two things. First, we won without it in 2024 and won big. We can do that again. Second, it's clear that we as voters have a choice, and X has allowed us to get our message out. We can make the changes needed in our Congress. The midterms are so important because they are localized elections, and it is a bit harder for them to cheat. If the current leadership in Congress will not get his house in order, then we must do it for him by voting in pure MAGA. We did it in 2024. We can do it again. I mean, look, I like that take because we did it before and we can do it again, but also that's not good enough. Not accepting that. Go, 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 now, now, now. Arthur McWaters says the U.S. has much less secure elections than other major democracies. We have the most powerful nuclear arsenal and most consequential elections in the world, yet in many states it's harder to buy a beer than cast a vote. That is insane. Elon agrees. Tim Young says the conversation needs to shift from why isn't John Thune bringing the Save America Act to a vote to why is John Thune the majority leader? Yeah, or why is John Thune a member of the GOP? Or why is John Thune a senator? Okay. Elon and I agree. Hey, take a look. We got this. We got photo evidence. Patriot Warrior, Texas. With a pretty cool mouse pad here. Safe, hidden, ready. But look at that. John supported the New American Media by getting some coasters, and you can get some too. We mailed them out. If you want some, they're $30. It includes $5 of shipping to the continental United States. They're 4 coasters, Ohio-made wooden, laser-etched, burned coasters for the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. We'll be live at 4 o'clock today. I believe we're 95% certain we'll be doing it live today. You can get them in a circle shape or an Ohio shape, 30 for a set of 4, or 50 for a 2-pack Shakur, and 25 for a pin for the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. So for $75, shoot me a Venmo as a donation, and we will get these sent out to you immediately. Just include your address, and if you want Ohio-shaped or circle-shaped. John, you were number 20-something, right? 22 on the pins. Thank you for your support. Look at that. See that all on the screen? That's John. John's got those. Now we just got to have a picture of John sipping a... Do you have a mug for the New American Media? John created a batch of mugs for the New American Media. I was drinking out of it till I was tasting flies. Flies are extra. Flies sold separately. Yeah, if you want some, let me know. Just shoot a Venmo. Of course, check out yesterday's program on Rumble. Choose America's future. It's a choose your own adventure, Islamic extremism or patriotism. Emma Goldberg, reporting from outside Gracie Mansion, wrote, chaos on Mamdani's doorstep. We've never had anything like this here. You've never had violent Islamic attacks in New York City. So CNN did the thing again. They pretended to report but smeared the left's opposition. But they deleted it. Someone put it in. Yeah, mostly peaceful protester right here. If Zoran Mamdani had a son, it would look like these guys. I'm trying to find the original post. Yeah, when Rolling Stone put the cover of the Boston bomber on like a heartthrob magazine. This is what they wrote. Thank you. Yeah, the internet's forever. CNN said 2 Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day, enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. Huh? How do we get a puff piece out of an Islamic terrorist attack? But in less than an hour, their lives would be drastically changed, as if they're victims of happenstance. As the pair would be arrested for throwing homemade bombs during, like, it takes all that time to get to the bloody point of the story. Oh, that's great, Lake Leon. I had no idea. I didn't know. How many did you send? Did you send 16 or 18? I have it written on the box. I don't recall. Okay, so if you made 20, you had some made and shipped them over. John and Marion both have a mug for the New American Media. That's awesome. Yeah, so that's your task. You and Marion, let's get some pictures at your workstations with the Unhappy Hour Sports Show coaster and the New American Media mug. That's what we do, folks. We're like PBS. Sponsored by viewers like you. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, CNN said a post regarding the 2 individuals arrested for throwing homemade bombs outside of New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani's home failed to reflect, and it's not about Zoran Mamdani. It was against a dude that didn't want his nation overrun with Islam. It's not about Zoran Mamdani. It's about them protesting people who said, we don't want America turned into an Islamic nation like Iran. They keep saying, oh, there were bombs thrown outside of Mamdani's home to make him look like a victim. It ain't about Mamdani. Kenneth has a mug. He has a New American Media mug, but he's still waiting on the hug. Well, can't win them all. But you could fill it with your favorite beverage. I like coffee. Here, everybody. I don't know if you have those mugs. I think Kenneth has his up on the shelf. Elf on a shelf and a mug on a Carrie Strug. Cheers to everybody out there. If you want to participate in the simultaneous sip, all you need is a cup or mug or glass, a tankard, chalice or stein, a canteen, jug or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee. And join me now for the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better. It's called the simultaneous sip, and it happens now. Go! Boy, oh boy, do I miss the Scott Adams show. Coffee with Scott Adams. But I hope we could participate in that together. Okay. Did I read this yesterday? I'm trying to figure out if I've caught up on the stories now. Because I recall saying, John Rich posting that it will show. Hold on. What's this in response to? There we go. John Solomon says, with the FBI having seized ballots from 2020 in Arizona and Georgia, what do you expect? John Rich expects it to show that Donald John Trump won in 2020. Thus, every decision Biden made will be nullified, including his SCOTUS picks. It will also lead to mass arrests of Democrats and Republicans who were involved in the heist, because this was no doubt coordinated with foreign governments. Any American who participated to overthrow our country will be guilty of treason. It could also lead to a Supreme Court ruling that Donald John Trump is due his stolen term, and he will serve the often joked about third term. Or absolutely nothing will happen, because nothing ever does. The Republican Senate says C3 is using pro forma sessions to stop President Trump from making recess appointments. using blue slip tradition to stop President Trump from filling judicial positions, and using the zombie filibuster to stop President Trump from securing elections. That's treason. Lisa Murkowski and Mitch McConnell need to get on board with the Save America Act. And John Thune appears to be sabotaging the midterms. And that is what I wanted to share with you today. Let me double check. Why is it still doing that? Okay, that's weird. That's a strange glitch. How do I undo that? Super weird. Remove source. What? Hold on. Green screen, bar scene. It's never a great day when you have to reset your feed while you're delivering your program, but we got through it. Speaking of getting through it, we're going to upload this video onto our Spotify. So please make sure you're following the Agree to Disagree Show podcast, please. We want to grow that platform. You know, we're steadily doing what we're doing. We need to double it. We need to double it. Everybody, you know, help us share this show out on X, on Facebook, on Telegram, on Signal, WhatsApp. Like, just share. Text it to some friends or family, neighbors. As you're talking to people and you find out if you're out in the universe, oh, what do you listen to? What do you watch? Oh, I got this show that I watch. Can I pull it? Can I subscribe to you? I do this all the time when I'm out and we start talking and I figure someone's like, is it okay to be permission to speak freely? And you find out, oh, there's someone that might like this. You go, hey, can I see your YouTube? Let me subscribe you to. You type it in, hit subscribe. I add my friends that way. I add, you know, people I just met. I add people that way. So I encourage you to do the same. Be evangelists for this program. We really do try our best to bring you as much as we can. Before we leave, let me just buzz through what's happening, see if anything trending is trending de Aragua. President Trump has called on GOP voters to oust Representative Thomas Massie ahead of his visit to Kentucky for tomorrow, Massie's district. Massie, he only votes against the Republican Party, making life very easy for the radical left. Unlike lightweight Congressman Massie, a true hater of Israel and a totally ineffective loser who has failed us so badly, Captain Ed Galrine is a winner who will not let Kentucky down. Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, what are we supposed to do with that? Thomas Massie gets a lot of stuff right, but he's lost a lot of support too. He's definitely lost some support. Brian, wherefore art thou? Peekaboo. I left. I came back. Oh, Kenneth's mug is on his desk. Okay. Thought you said you had it on a shelf, like with the elf. Lake Leon. I follow everywhere I can. Yes, John, you are. We need more people to be like John. Yeah, I mean, we've achieved a lot. Unlocking the monetization on the YouTube was huge. You know, the support from our regulars and our first time. I mean, we get support from people we know and that we're very familiar with, and we get support from people we've never heard of. It's all fantastic and so appreciated. Yeah, but I don't know about this. Getting rid of Thomas Massie. That would be tough because he's right on a lot of things. But he is voting with the Democrats an awful lot. And step one is destroy the Democrat Party. Step two, lean into those libertarian principles a little bit more. We got to do it in that order. Otherwise, we're letting the Democrats, the Kamala Harris, the Joe Biden, the Mayorkas back in to be in charge of the sheep. You know, letting the wolves inside the hen house. You can't do that. And so I think they've been Massey's he's been making some big decisions. Calls him the worst Republican congressman ever, worse than Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, and the rest of the traitor crew. That's tough. When is this? This is they're paying bus people to go to the Trump event in my congressional district. Trump fans in Kentucky 4 and across the entire Commonwealth also support my work on the Epstein files, reining in spending, ending forever wars, draining the swamp, and food freedom. Yeah, I wish these two wouldn't battle like this. I wish they could just get along. Bad Hombre reports that Trump just got chased out of a restaurant by Venezuelans who are furious about January's operation to arrest the illegitimate narco-terrorist Nicolas Maduro, who stole the country of Venezuela. Oh, wait, what's that? Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey are wrong. They're actually ecstatic, thankful, and overjoyed.
You have been the best president we have seen in our lives.
So why are MTG and Massey so anti-MAGA?
He's one of the most successful men in Florida, and he did it the hard way, right? Are you going to be loyal to me? I know. You always have to. Thank you.
All right. What else is trending and why? John Thune, Save America. Obama Foundation pays CEO Valerie Jarrett, earned $740,000 in 2024 amid a payroll surge. Valerie Jarrett. That's what grifting looks like. What else? What else? Velcro. Why is Velcro trending? Don't know. Okay. I think that's all I wanted to share with you today. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss any big stories while we were wrapping the show up. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. We'll be back tomorrow at noon, but stay tuned. In about an hour, we'll be back live with Strictly Football. It's the free agency show. So much to say, so much to say, so much to do. So tune in. All right, signing out on behalf of everybody out there in the TNAM universe. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll be back again in about 55 minutes. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.